Hello, everybody. Dr. K. K. Agarwal, President Heart Care Foundation of India, and you are watching Medtalks with Dr. K. K. 7 p.m. daily show, demystifying messages from the body. And it's customary that when we call our guest, we wash our hands and we do Suman K. So S for Seedha, U for Ulta, M for Mutti, A for Angutha, N for Nakhun, and K for Kalai. Once we have done that, we are willing and ready to accept our guest. And I have with me Madam Anita Sagal. She is a gifted individual and an exceptional wife and a doting mother to two daughters and two grandchildren. Her versatile career spans from a human resource manager in a large bank to a technical analyst for equities entrepreneurship to a life coach. Her career shifts took a deep turn prompted by the personal shifts in her life that made her choose a different aspect of life. She is now an author, poet, and is a founder of Mind and Beyond. And she is the recipient of Shiromani Award meant for outstanding women. I also have with me my friend, Dr. Sanjeev Malik, blessed with multidimensional virtues. He is a committed family man with a lovely doctor wife and a father to a daughter and a son, a medical physician by qualification. He has been a person who has worked as a president of Indian Medical Association, president of SARC Medical Association, presently the chairman of Mediver Group. He has been a recipient of BC Roy National Awarding and the WMA Caring Physician of the World Award. Welcome, both of you, in my show. This show is a daily show where large number of people, both from the medical fraternity and the public at large, attend and interact. So we will have a 20 minutes interaction followed by, if I get some people who wants to ask questions, they can come back and ask questions. So Sanjeev, I've been told that both of you jointly have written a book, The Magical Body. And the book, obviously, if two of you are associated, is going to become a bestseller with that. And you have shifted yourself to a mind body heart connection. Recently, American Heart Association for the first time has revised the concept and they have accepted the term soul, but in a different direction. They are calling it as a mind, body, and heart. So instead of calling it as a mind, body, soul, the medical fraternity now says heart is nothing but your soul. And we also know that your topic for today is distress signals in the body, that your body identifies distress signals and as a signal of comfort or discomfort. So a signal of discomfort always comes from the soul and not from the mind, intellect, and ego. And you should also listen to the discomfort inside your soul. So coming back, what is the book about? Can you tell me something more about the book?
Well, I think let Anita take that question.
Yeah. Yes, Dr. Agarwal, it's a pleasure to have been associated with the medical practitioner, a renowned doctor, Dr. Malik, for the outcome of this book. And this book is basically based on my learning, training, my practice and experience as a hypnotherapist, a regression therapist, and a radical practitioner. Now, through this book, we are seeking to redefine the definition of the body. I know this is a little beyond the medical perspective, but you have already introduced the concept so beautifully that it all falls in place. We are seeking to create the perception that we need to relook at the body and to create an awareness that the body is a combination of our thoughts, our belief systems, and emotions. Now, the primary attention goes to the body only when a disease shows up or when we are in pain or there is some dysfunctionality. As else, all that we look at our body is through how we appear to others and how others see us. Now, through this book, we are asking you to look at yourself holistically as a composite whole, a combine of thought, emotion, energy, and the physical aspect, which affects us on a continuous basis. So, the body is also a feedback mechanism on its own. It is like a mirror to us, which shows us what is it that we need to shift, to reshape, or to shape our lives. Now, the messages are being constantly beamed out. We tend to overlook, ignore, or maybe pay little attention to these broadcasts. Now, this awareness through this book will help you to redesign your relationship with your body. Now, the body is actually also, apart from the physical aspect of it, our repository of our deepest thoughts and emotional patterns. And many of those thoughts and emotion patterns we are actually unaware of at the conscious level. So, through this feedback mechanism, we are asking you to delve deeper into your mind and to understand what is it that influences the body and what is the feedback the body is giving. Let us say we can compare it to a complex chemical factory, which is controlled and regulated by the software of the mind. This, in brief,
So
is the concept of
yes,
our.
so बड़ा clearly अनिता जी ने explain किया है, and if you read Bhagavad Gita chapter 266, it says नास्ति बुद्धिर्युक्तस्य न च युक्तस्य भावना न च भावयत शांति अशांतस्य कुतो सुखम. And that's what Anita ji has clearly defined, that a mind which is ashant is in a
Yeah.
sympathetic state of mind, will not take up the signals. But if you shift yourself from sympathetic to parasympathetic mode, which can be by hypnosis, regression, by meditation, by pranayam, whatever you do, if you shift to a parasympathetic mode, you get signals from the nature, your synchrodestiny increases. You catch signals from your body as well as from others' body as well as from the universe. And that's what we call them as Ritam Bhara Pragya. And that is when you are in unison with the universe. That means your consciousness and the universe are together to catch those signals. And those signals you cannot catch if you are in a sympathetic state of mind. Therefore, you need a person like Anita to shift you from sympathetic to a parasympathetic state, a journey. And in during that journey, your mind becomes suggestive. So coming back to further about this, when you talk about the scientific basis, I've been told that you have included all aspects of quantum physics, as well as because when we talk about different philosophies of Hinduism, we have the first philosophy is Nyaya and second is Vaishashik. So there are six type of people who understand spirituality in India. The first is Nyaya, the second is Vaishashik, and Vaishashik philosophy is the basis of people who are scientists who wants to understand in the language of physics, whether they want to understand at the level of quantum physics or want to understand at the line of string theory. How are you explaining your subjects in the lines of quantum physics or quantum mechanics?
Energy is immensely vast, and we have tried to condense it into basic characteristics so that it makes understanding easy. Now, the basic rationale behind is no different from the universally accepted fact that all creation is made of five elements, Panch Tattva, right? Namely, the earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Now, a body being a part of the whole has the same elements. The scientific fact is that everything is energy, frequency, and vibration, and the element combined, that is the earth, water, air, fire, and ether, is charged by a life force energy field, the prana. Now, matter, when broken down into molecules, atoms, subatomic particles, quarks held together by gluons and photons, which are the carriers of electromagnetic energy. In other words, the baseline of all matter is pure energy. All creation, we can say, has emerged from nothing. Now, each matter vibrates at a different frequency. Thoughts and emotions, bodies are the subtle parts of it. So, our body is constantly beaming energy in all directions. The first law of thermodynamics, that is a law of conservation of energy, it states that energy cannot be created, it cannot be destroyed, it can only be transmitted. Now, even if the thoughts and emotions fade away from our active awareness, they are somewhere stored in our body. They have left an impression somewhere. Now, that is picked up subconsciously by others, and that feedback we get through others in their reaction to us. In our environment, a new reality is created based on our thoughts and emotions and the energy field within and around us. So, our energy speaks and others respond to it accordingly. Now, the human body is enshrined in this energy field. We know that we are electromagnetic beings. To give you a scientific explanation, now let's say a human body at rest produces about 100 watts of power every second. Now, about 300 to 400 is easily produced by an individual in a few minutes or a few hours in an athlete. Few minutes in an athlete, I would say. Now, in every short burst of energy, such sprinting, some humans can put out over 2000 watts. Now, the cell membrane of the body is a seat of electrical activity and has a voltage called membrane potential. Now, a healthy cell has a potential of around 80 volts, whereas a disease cell, say a cancerous cell, has a potential of about 25 watts. Now, the low potential in membrane prevents it from performing its function as a protector and a gatekeeper of the cell, leading to disease. Now, the magnetic fields which are produced by the electrical activity is measured through MEG and MCG, and it is impacted by the magnetic field of the Earth. Magnetic field of the body is impacted by the magnetic field of the other Earth and the other magnetic fields around. Keep the body healthy and to keep it in balance, you need to be aware of its true nature and accordingly work with the various factors which are creating the disturbance in the electromagnetic field of the body. Now we have Dr. Sanjeev Malik here, an eminent doctor from this field of medicine. He will help us elaborate on the anatomy, physiology, and disease patterns of various diseases, which he has already put it out in the book.
So we'll come back to Sanjeev, but before that, Anita ji has clearly defined that we all have come out of nothing, and that nothing is out of that we end up into a wave particle duality. So at this moment, we have Dr. K.K. Agarwal sitting here as a wave and as a particle, and the wave particle duality together. And spirituality is nothing but shifting from that imagination of a wave particle duality to a wave, and from wave to unmanifest, which is avyakt. And once you achieve that avyakt, you are in touch with your consciousness. Coming back to Sanjeev, go ahead.
Well, KK, I can tell you what attracted me to be a part of this venture. I have seen Anita do a lot of cases of healing, as she calls it. And over the last few years, I have been sort of her partner in medically guiding her. So whenever she gets someone who has some physical or bodily deformity or disease, she would always do her homework first. And at times, I must confess, she's come up with questions for which even I need to do a Google search. So they are so hardcore scientific that does our body have 3.75 trillion cells or 5 trillion? I said, Anita, how does it bother you? She says, no, I need to answer this question for one of my patients who is a leukemic patient. And what is the genesis of the leukemia cells? Things like that. So I've been trying to help her. And then there were a number of friends, colleagues, acquaintances whom I referred to her for healing. And I found it was miraculous. So one day when I was sitting with Anita, she brought out a big fat compilation of her case studies. And I was surprised. I wouldn't say shocked, but I was surprised that, okay, someone can so scientifically document what all she has done over the past few years. But I told her, I said, see, whenever you do something like this, we looked into different aspects of quantum physics. We looked into metaphysics. We studied a whole lot of literature of so many professionals defining and deciding on what this is. And I realized that we as medical professionals were probably lagging far behind. I don't think many of us can even give a definition of quantum physics or metaphysics. So then I told her, I said, now let's do something very scientific. Number one, I want to be very clear that what Anita does and what we've tried to bring out through this book, the different healing modalities, they're all complementary. They're not a substitute to scientific modalities of disease diagnosis and treatment. So let that be very clear. But what we are now planning to do, even in our next stage and phase, is that we're going to try to scientifically rationalize.
Continue, please.
All right. Okay. So, what I'm telling you, one of the things we planned was that we tying up with a leading diabetic institute of the country, and we say, okay, while you're treating your diabetes patients, let's on a hardcore clinical trial protocol pick up one set of patients where you are treating your normal way with your medicines, and the other set also gets the same medicine, but they also get some of the healing therapies which Anita does. And let's do a trial. So this is just one of the small things that we're planning. We obviously be looking at even help and guidance from professional friends like you to see how we can structure it. So that's actually how I came up to be a part of this. I think it's also for the interest of a lot of our viewers, maybe very briefly define what quantum physics is. Maybe Anita would want to.
I think that would help everybody to understand the concept behind the work that we do. So, quantum physics, the origin of it comes from a Latin word which means amount, which is the smallest possible unit of any matter of energy. Now, it's a study of the atoms, the subatomic particles, which, as you mentioned, began with the discovery of particles being energy wave like properties. So, like you said, you are wave and your particle both at the same time. Now, as we break down the atom, we find the non physical energy nature of the atom. Now, all matter is composed of molecules, atoms, subatomic particles held together by gluon and photons, which are carriers of electromagnetic energy. This is the common ground of spirituality and quantum physics. So, we are happily, it's converging. Now, the mystical wisdom, the scriptural wisdom is now happily converging. So matter, when you break down, it comes down to a common pool of energy. It is the unmanifested energy which manifests as matter, but each matter vibrates at its own unique frequency. Now, when observed, wave when observed, condenses into particles. Now, this energy field of our thoughts and emotions, that is the subtler parts of us, influence, and whatever it influences is stored in our body. In short, what we focus on will grow. So, our intent and focus are therefore the creators of our reality, both in our inner world and in our outer reality. Essentially, which means that we are the master of our own destinies, whether it comes to our physical body or it comes to outer reality. How we discover that is a process which unfolds for you as we work with ourselves.
So that's what Anita ji is very clearly defining, that the concept of Ritambhara Pragya, as is the universe, so is as is the microcosm, so is the macrocosm. And if you shift from sympathetic to parasympathetic mode, you go at a level of waves where you get in connection with your consciousness, and there starts the healing. And that healing is possible. Dean Ornish has shown it, Courage trial has shown it. Lots of trials have shown very clearly even the blockages are regressible, involving shifting to a parasympathetic state of mind where you are connected with the universe. So, and that's what Anita ji is also saying, that in diabetes, where is the origin of diabetes? The origin of diabetes is the cellular dharma of a white adipose cell, which has forgotten its dharma and which is ending up into a cellular obesity, which is leading to free radical, that is lipid peroxidation on one side and induction of TNF alpha and IL-6 on one side. And if you change the dharma of that particular cell and shift from M1 macrophages to M2 macrophages, or you produce good cytokines. So now there are enough number of studies available, which I would like Sanjeev to do, because if you want to prove that that your treatment is working, first thing is we must demonstrate a reduction of conversion of M macrophages from M1 to M2. Two is IL-10, IL-4, and IL-13, which are IL-10 is available in India. We are doing a trial on parasympathetic mode and changes in the good cytokines. So you have TNF alpha and IL-10, both the tests are available. CD4 and CD8 count. So if whichever we want to show when we say at the level of molecular or a quantum level, the body is healing. That means we are showing that the low-grade systemic inflammation in my body is regressing. For that, I need to show a reversal of my inflammatory markers. And these inflammatory markers takes care of my liver, pancreas, muscle, and adipose tissue. So I totally agree with the work which both of you are doing, wonderful work. And the most important thing will be documenting those case reports. Science, uh, all those people who are well versed with the subject, they know the science. General public need not go into the details of the science. They would like to see anecdotal cases. And when you people were not there, I was talking about there are 6 types of evidences in Vedic literature. One is pratyaksh. Pratyaksh is that you says, I have, patient gives you that I have done it. That is anecdotal examples. Our case reports are pratyaksh. And then you have Anuman, that is a Anuman and Upaman, Arthapati, Anuplabdhi, and Shabda. So here, if you are compiling anecdotal cases with their references, and some of them can be with scientific evidence, other can be with analogy, that if this person has responded to this, another person will also respond to the same. So using the 6 pramans of Vedic sciences, one can easily show that. I would like now Sanjeev and Anita ji to give 5 take home messages for the concept.
Okay.
Well, I would say let Anita sum it up, but I would say, at the end they say, what I learned was we spent about a year writing this book, and the gist was, you give me your biology, I'll give you your biography.
Absolutely.
Right, Anita? So, so maybe
completely
Anita
agree
would
with
want
that.
to.
Here also the role comes of microbiome, because if you have uh, 3 to 6 trillion cells in your body, 10 times of that you have microbiome in your body. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am Vaishnava. That means he talks about I am the Jataragni. And that Jataragni is the interaction between you and your friends, which is the microbiome in your body. And they also carry the quantum physics of them and yours together makes the human body. Anita ji.
Beautiful. Now, this book, the focus of this book has been to identify the stories of our mind and connect them to the stories of our bodies, and to help create this awareness so that we can rewrite those stories and create something which is more beautiful, which is more positive and more fulfilling. So it helps you to decode the story of your life so that you're better able to appreciate the impact of your thoughts and your emotions on your body, and how you can navigate through your life by understanding it in a better way towards positive health and well-being. Now, in short, the message is that you have the power, you are not a victim of your genetic framework, and your future is not fixed or not set in stone.
So I want to end by saying that this COVID episode and COVID pandemic has shown us USA is not the best, and the Europe is not the best. And you don't have to wait for the Europe to come back with an evidences. All your anecdotal examples, convert them, show it to the public, and if they have a logic and if they have some explanation, that's how the research is done. Everybody waits for US to come back and give the researches. The time is that all our anecdotal examples, if they can be validated even by our Vedic sciences, that's we are going to rule the whole world. Let me thank both Anita and Sanjeev to be here with us. That's all for today.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be
being
on the
on
show.
your show. Thank you.